Hey guys, Andrew Esquivel here, back with another review, and today I'm going to be reviewing the DuaFire Remote Control Ocean Wave Projector Nightlight. So this is the product right here. As you can see, it's not very big, which is a good thing. It allows you to put it in wherever you feel is the most appropriate, including little tight spaces, where this thing is able to do what it does. Now you might be asking yourself, what exactly is a ocean wave projector nightlight? Well, this is one of those products that's really a lot easier to show than it is to explain. If you look at the box here, it projects a multitude of colors on the ceiling in a very wispy, kind of smoky, ocean wavy kind of manner. And I'll show you what it looks like in just a moment, but first let's just go over the construction of the product. It's made of just general plastic. It doesn't appear to have any faults. I've been using this for the past 24 hours at least to make sure that nothing about it is broken. So far everything works as it should. This right here is what covers the LEDs that are inside of this and gives it its ocean wavy pattern, and this will rotate or at least kind of like move back and forth to create a very fun pattern as you watch it do what it does. And then you got this protective plate that has more ripples in it to add more of that wavy pattern that's going to be shown up on the ceiling in just a moment. Now, not only does this project light, but it does also play music. We'll get into the music portion later in the review, but to power this device, it comes with this AC to DC adapter. And as you can see, it's just a standard AC-DC adapter that gets converted to USB and then to micro USB. With this end plugged into the wall and then this end plugged into the back of the device, you will now have power. Once you have power going to the device, it's very simple to operate. The buttons down here are relatively self-explanatory. This button powers it on and also allows you to cycle through different modes. This plus and minus sign allow you to adjust the volume of the music that can be played through the device, and this skip or playback button allows you to change songs. And there's actually a number of different ways in which you can play songs with this device. Once again, we'll be going over that a little bit later in the review. But just know that you can also use the remotes that comes with this device to control it as well from a relatively decent distance, relative in terms of, this being in your room and you get a clear shot of the sensor here that you will need to be able to have this point at, because this is using infrared technology to make the connection to the device. So if there's something obscuring this connection, you won't be able to control it with the remote. Another thing about the remote is it does not come with batteries. You will need to supply your own batteries. They take 2 AAA batteries, so be sure to have those ready when you get your device. Now, before I show you what this looks like when it projects the light up onto the ceiling, we're going to go over how to operate this device really quickly and show you the different modes that it can go through. So first I'm going to show you how to operate the device with the remote control, and then I'm going to show you how to operate the device with just the buttons that are on the device itself. So first we're going to press the big red button here to turn it on. And it's going to turn the lights on, make the motor that makes the lights do its nice wavy pattern turn on, and it's going to play the music in whatever mode that it is defaulted to. For now, we're going to turn the music off, and to do that, we simply press the play pause button, which is the yellow button here in the center. And we're also going to just show you one function that you can do here, which is the rotate mode. Pressing this green button on the right will stop the motor from making the waving motions active, and if you press it again, it makes the waving motions active once again. The next, on the left side, we have the flash mode. Now this allows you to cycle through the various different modes that it has, and the modes that it has are listed in the manual itself. Now, to make things simple, I'm going to read off what it says that it can do here. Mode 1 is basically all the colors. It's red, blue, green, 3 lights all at the same time. It's called Romantic Atmosphere. Number 2 is red, green, and then red, blue, and then blue, green. So it slowly switches between those color combinations. Mode 3 is the red, blue lighting for a kind of purplish atmosphere. Number 4 is blue lighting only. It's like an ocean kind of looking thing. They call it blue ocean. Green is, as they say, the aurora borealis, which I think it does kind of look like that. Mode 7 is red-blue, green, cycled lighting, magic zone. And number 7 is red-blue, green, cycle, quick through. So it's kind of like a disco effect. So those are the different modes that you can go through. And in order to operate going through them, you press that green button on the left, and it will cycle through the different modes, including turning off the light in general. Now, on here, you can also control the volume of the music, as well as the timer. You can turn the timer on and off, and the timers right here are preset to 1 hour, 2 hour, and 4 hour. Now, you won't be able to adjust the timer on the device itself. You will need the remote for that. So the remote does have that one advanced function. But to control the rest of the stuff on the device, this is how you would do it. So when operating the device with just the buttons built into the machine itself, just know there's no tactile feedback, so it works just by sensing your finger. So we're going to go ahead and start by turning it on. We'll just take our finger and hold it on the power button for a second. And the LEDs turn on, the motor is moving, and the built-in music is playing. Now, unlike the remote control, there is no way to pause the music. So if you want the music to stop playing, you'll have to simply turn it down. If you want to make the music louder, we'll go and turn it back up higher. But once again, we're going to talk about that in just a moment. Now, to cycle through the different modes, you just press the power button quickly. And that will cycle through the modes. To turn it off completely, you hold, and it will turn off all the way. So, now that we know how this device works, let's see what it looks like when it's projecting on the ceiling. Alright, let's power on the device. The device is powered on. And let's look at the ceiling. My camera might not focus on this, but I think you get the idea. It's got this really cool wavy pattern going on. And it's got a pretty wide spread. Just about everything in the room, in terms of the ceiling, is lit up. And most of the walls are also lit up, but it won't be bright enough to show up on the camera. Alright, so now let's go ahead and try to cycle through those modes. So this is the normal mode with all the lights on. This is the red and green mode, where it slowly shifts between red and green. Oh, and blue on this one. This one is red and blue. This one is just blue. This one's one of my favorites. It looks very nice in real life compared to the camera. The camera just doesn't do it justice. It really feels like maybe you might be underwater for a little bit, and it's very relaxing. This is the green aurora borealis mode, which is instantly what I thought when I saw the picture of this thing on the Amazon webpage. Is, oh, the green one kind of reminds me of the aurora borealis. And now I find out in the instructions that's what they were going for. It's really cool. And of course we have this red and blue one. Although this one, it looks like it's cycling through green on this one too. I didn't really memorize which colors go on what order with these. And then this is the disco mode, where it just flashes through all of them kind of quickly. This one feels kind of, I don't know, too quick. It's not really enjoyable. And then the next mode turns it off, mode again, turns all of them back on. Now, the fact of the matter is, my camera simply just doesn't do this device justice. One, because my camera doesn't really focus too well in the dark, and two, it just looks way cooler in real life. This is something that I really wish I had when I was a child, and I actually had something very similar to this when I was a child. When I was young, I had a very hard time falling asleep. So what I had was this little waterfall that sits on the edge of my desk, and it would have LEDs that would change the color of the water, and you get that nice waterfall kind of noise going, and it was very peaceful and serene. This kind of does something very similar like that, with the nice watery, wispy, kind of waving patterns on the ceiling. And now we're finally going to talk about the sounds, the ability to play music, which I think is fantastic for two reasons. One, if you use this in something like a nursery, it's a really, really cool little light that I think your child will grow up and just love to use. But I think being able to play music from either using the aux cord with any device that can play through a 3.5 millimeter audio cable, or in this case it also accepts micro SD cards that go in the back. It says TF card, but it means micro SD card. It's because micro SD cards a very long time ago used to be called TF cards. And the built-in music inside of it is also an option, although the built-in music is really not all that impressive. But if you were to play music through the aux cord or built in through the micro SD card, you could put some nice lullaby music on it, and it would be good for your baby to fall asleep to. Or if you have a toddler or a young child, it's nice to be able to play music through it, and if they can't fall asleep, it gives them something to look at. My parents always told me, just stare at the ceiling if you can't fall asleep. Well, if I had this, the ceiling would have been a lot more interesting to look at. But let's actually go through the different ways in which it can play audio. Now, first off, let's start with the built-in music. We're going to be using the remote for this for simplicity's sake. Press play. And the first one is like outdoor noises, and we're going to raise the volume. You hear that little noise, that boop? That lets you know you've reached the maximum sound volume. And you can hear this is just a very short audio loop that plays. All the ones that are built in are very short audio loops. So they're good in concept. I wish they were a little longer though. We're about to restart in just a second. Yep, there it is. And you can play through them. There's 4 of them total. This one at the beach. This is the 4th one. They're all kind of just different variations of a similar concept, which is supposed to be relaxing noises, although you might want to lower the volume when you start playing it. Now, as I said before, this device can play audio from other sources, and it works on basically an override concept. So the default is the music that is built into the device. If you want to play other music, you can play it from the aux cord. And if you play audio from the aux cord, it will override the source of audio to the aux cord. However, if you put the SD card slot in, and all you need is an SD card, this is a 32 gig SD card formatted in FAT32, it will override both of these and play directly from the SD card. So instead of playing music from my phone, what I'm going to do is play music from the SD card. Keep in mind that it will start playing immediately as soon as you put the SD card in the device. And just make sure it's a blank SD card with no files on it, formatted in FAT32, and it should work. right here is the speaker. Now, as far as speakers go, this really isn't half bad for what it is. Because one thing you need to remember is this really isn't a speaker with a light on it. This is a light with a speaker built into it as an extra feature. That doesn't mean that I disregard the speaker quality altogether, but I don't take it as seriously as it's not a pair of headphones or a speaker. It's a light with a speaker built into it. Now, the audio quality, like I said, is pretty decent. It's about average with just a generic pair of speakers. It's not designed to be impressive in terms of its audio quality like a high-end set of speakers, but it does the job fairly well. And you just have the SD card with a bunch of MP3 files on it, and you cycle through them with the remote or the device. Now I have two song files on here, so they don't only cycle through the two, but kind of go through, and with this you can just press this. Well, it should. Sometimes it doesn't feel your finger as good as you'd hope it would. There you go. So that's how you operate the speaker. The aux cord, just a general aux cord. It's not super high quality or anything, but it works. So that's the device. Have the music playing. Have the colors on the ceiling going. And you get a nice little device. It does exactly what it's supposed to do. And although there's not really much I can compare it with, I actually really like this thing. I was using it in my own room, just watching it do the colors on the ceiling, and it was pretty relaxing, honestly. I liked it. I think this is something that children will definitely enjoy. I don't know if the novelty of the device will wear off quick or not. I think if you have a nursery, this is a fantastic little device. You put it on a nice color and it's just there. Gives a little extra light. Put some lullaby music on the SD card and just have it playing through. And put it on a timer. And you got yourself a nice little system to help your baby fall asleep, I think. Now, if you have a toddler, some young child who can't fall asleep like I was when I was young, it's a nice little source of entertainment that I don't think is very distracting. It's not overbearing, and as far as nightlights go, I'm sure all your children's friends will be very jealous of your child's nightlight. So all that being said, the lights do what they're supposed to do. The motor doesn't have any problems. The system functions the exact way it should for long periods of time. I've tested it to make sure that it does. The audio quality is average, but that's to be expected. The functions work the way they should. There's not any problems with it. I wish it came with batteries, but that's partly how they keep the cost down a little bit with products like this. So don't worry about that. It doesn't come with an SD card either. You will need to get your own SD card, or I should say micro SD card to be specific. But they're very inexpensive nowadays, and you can pick them up anywhere, or even on Amazon when you get the device. So the functions work very well. It's very entertaining. I'm 24 years old, and the first thing I said when I saw this thing put lights on the ceiling for the first time is I said, wow. And that's genuine. I'm not saying that just to be over dramatic or whatever. I really did think it was pretty neat. Now, obviously, everyone's tastes are different. It's a subjective experience, sure. But if this is something that you personally think is cool, or you think would be cool, and you're looking on the Amazon page for it, you probably will enjoy it. So, that being said, I like it. I really do. It was a pleasant surprise to see something that functioned like this. Once again, I wish I had this sort of thing when I was a kid. But this is something that I think younger children and in a nursery would do well. And heck, even if you're an adult, I'm probably gonna be using it for a few more days just because I think it's fun. I like it. So, thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, show your friends, check out my other videos. I've got plenty of them, and as always, I'll see you next time. Sweet dreams.